All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to go over page 380, 33 through 36 to hopefully offer some clarification if you had any questions on these problems. All of these problems were they asked you to sketch a graph. It says sketch the graphs of f and g in the same coordinate plane. And so you have an exponential function followed by a logarithmic function. So if you remember from what I showed you on the last lecture, if you come up with a table for the exponential function, the logarithmic function is extremely easy to uh, graph because you just reverse the ordered pair. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So I'm going to get a blank sheet here for you. So the first one was f of x was 7 to the x. And then the other one was g of x was log base 7 of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an xy chart. And we're going to do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And we're going to take all of these x's, and I'm going to just circle these real quick. I'm going to take all of these x's, and they're all going to go right in there for the x value. And we're going to come up with an output value. So for the first couple, I'll write out the algebra. I'm not going to write out the algebra for all of them. But let's start with 7 to the -2. That becomes 1 over 7 squared, which is 1 over 49. The next one we're going to have, so this is 1 over 49. 7 to the -1, that's 1 over 7 to the first power. So this becomes 1/7. 7 to the 0 power is 1. 7 to the first is 7. And 7 to the second is 49. So now that we have all of the table filled out, this, and I'm going to color code this red one is this table right here. So if I want to use, let's go with purple. If I want to graph this, I'm simply going to come up with another table, xy, but I'm going to reverse all of the x's and the y's. So I'm going to have 1 over 49, and then I'm going to have 1 over 7, then 1, then 7, 49, and then -1, 0, 1, and 2. And so graphing this, we're going to start with the exponential, and I'll do this in red so it matches. You're going to have, actually before I do that, going to be at -2. Obviously, I'm not going to go up to 49. Okay, so we're going to be really tight to the x-axis. We're going to be a little bit higher, and then by the time we get there, we'll be at 0, 1, and then 1, 7 is going to be way up there. So this graph is going to go, looks like every exponential that we've talked about. If you take and you draw a line, dash line, they're a little hard to do on the iPad here. Every one of those ordered pairs reversed is going to give you the log function. So going to be down around here. It's going to be -2. Then you're going to be, this negative for some reason didn't show up. It should have been negative there. Then you'd have a point right here. Sorry about that, guys. I'm having a little difficulty. And then 0, 1, and then 7, 1, which would be way over there. And you'd have a graph that would go like that. So there you go. The red graph is the exponential. The purple graph is the logarithmic function. So the next one is 5 to the x and then log base 5. So same as before. We have f of x equals 5 to the x, and then we have g of x equals log base 5 of x. We're going to make two tables. The next y, we'll call this one purple, this one red. Now, our ordered pairs, same x values, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Those will become our y values. And then we just need to get our y values over here. So the way we're going to do that is all of these x values are going to get put right in for that x right there. So I'll do this one more time and show you the algebra. Hopefully you're catching on to what it is, but it's 5 to the -2 equals 1 over 5 squared, which is 1/25. 5 to the -1 is 1 over 5. 5 to the 0 is 1. 5 to the first is 5, and 5 to the second is 25. So these are all your y values right here. So 1 over 25, 1 over 5, it becomes 1, 5, 25. And then those go right here. 1/5, 1, 5, 25. So proceeding to graph this, you're going to notice this looks very, very, very similar to the last graph. I draw this. We're going to graph this in purple first. So we'll be like right here, then right there. Obviously, I'm estimating those fractions. And then we have 1, 5, which would be there. And then 225 is way too high. You can see there's our exponential graph. Then if these all get switched, I'm going to have a dot there, dot there, dot there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 is going to be right there. And you're going to have a graph that looks like that. And the purple one is the exponential, and the red is the logarithmic function, and they're reflections of each other. All right, we have 6 to the x, and then log base 6 of x. So I'm going to show you what that is. So f of x, whoops, f of x is 6 to the x. G of x is log base 6 of x. The graphs are all going to look similar. I'm not going to draw the graphs for the last two, but I do want to make the table for you just to make sure you're doing that correct. Same x's, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And so when you make your xy chart here, that becomes your y's. Color code these. This will be red. This will be purple. All right, so 6 to the -2 is 1 over 6 squared, which is 1/36, then 1/6, 1/6, 36. And then the x's and the y's switch. Then you have 1, 6, 36. And you can plot those. Again, they're going to look just very, very similar to the last two that we did. Okay, the last one we're going to do is this one right, is number 36. So you have 10 to the x and then log of x. Notice, I'm going to write on this for a second. Notice this log right here does not have a base written. Please remember, when it's not written, it is log base 10, except for natural log. Natural log is always log base e. So we have f of x equals 10 to the x, g of x equals log of x, your xy chart. And we're going to have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Hopefully you're catching on to that is what we always use for the x's. It's pretty simple. And we'll go with purple, purple, red, and red. And so now plugging -2 in, remember all of these x values are going to go in right there. So they're getting plugged in to the exponential function. So 10 to the -2 becomes 1 over 10 squared, which is 1/100th. And then this is 1/10. 10 to the 0 power is 1. 10 to the first is 10. 10 squared is 100. And as it did in the previous three problems, the x and the y's switch. And there's your ordered pairs. And again, that's going to look very similar to the first two that I drew. There's the fractions are so small that they're just not going to look any different. So, all right, very good, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or comment on your homework when you turn it in on Google Classroom. Take care.